Jonas Vingegaard has returned after winning the Tour de France to the wet Tour of Croatia, where he means business. He's not just here to get some Ks in the legs before Lombardia, it seems, chasing down attacks. We'll get to that in a second. 6 stages of Croatia race, 2 one-stage race. I'm in Australia, so the videos will be up the next morning, your time, if you're watching in Europe after the stages. And we had a good little stage one. You're going to see this more and more and more because it's better than a boring pancake flat sprint stage, a circuit, 2 laps of the finish line with 2 little hills just before a flat finish. And that means there's tension over will the pure sprinters get dropped, like Elia Viviani, will Jonathan Milan make it over? So for Bahrain victorious, very important this race. One of their big directors, Mihailovic, is Croatian. His son, Fran, is in the Bahrain team now. He's looking pretty good, young Croatian rider. And Vingegaard's here too, the big name, the Tour de France winner. There's also third place, Geraint Thomas, in the race. We'll see in a second. So Jonas, I think, is prepping for Lombardia. He's here with Van Enden, Hofstede, and a few others, and he's the main focal point of Jumbo-Visma. But Bahrain really want to win the race, probably with Trago, I would say. But Milan's their man for the first stage. Mohoric here as well, obviously. And Thomas here in a domestique capacity, like I think he normally does in these smaller races. Viviani and Hajduk were the men for the first stage. Castro you saw on the front, but the weather a bit ominous and then turned. The rain came, still summer conditions, the guys. I mean, some in the peloton getting in jackets. Vingegaard's skinny, so he rugged up. He put the gilet on and then a full jacket on later. But the breakaway still mostly in short sleeves, as you can see. Obviously, the big race for the Slovenians. It's near Slovenia. You got the Ljubljana Conti team who are quite good here as well. Mohoric here for Bahrain. And here's this first climb. Breakaway's caught. They do 2 reps of this. This is the first edition. I think it's Caruso on the front. Came second in the Giro last year, chasing down the DSM ride. He's got that big figure of Milan on his wheel, 22-year-old Italian, but he speaks, you'll see his interview at the end. I don't know if he's one of his parents are not Italian. He speaks with kind of a Germanish accent. He speaks very good English. Anyway, they're riding for him in the sprint and getting him over. He's getting over easily. Pernsteiner comes back. The group got thin. You see Jonas is there now in the full rain kit with Hofstede on his left, so they're just keeping him safe. It's not a big GC day, but he's just monitoring moves. And the group, that was first rep of that climb, got pretty small, but then on the flat, it comes back. And then Thomas is on the front. So as you can see, Thomas riding as a domestique. I don't know, Kwiatkowski got dropped, so I thought this race would really suit him. But he lost time, and Bahrain just on the left, just keeping things together. There weren't any attacks initially, and there's a little dipper, and then it goes, I think, back up again, and you've got Milan. He's just looking really good. I think he's going to win a Giro stage next year, this guy. The way, I don't know if he can climb even better than this. In Poland, he was quite good. And Bahrain keeping it, they probably couldn't see Viviani, or I don't know if Moschetti was Trek sprinter, so they were trying to keep him behind. But there was an attack from DSM, and you see Jonas closing it himself. So active, like paying attention on this first tricky stage, chasing after it. Milan, their third wheel, which has good level. He's not sliding back. Hajduk, I think, there with Trago slotting onto Vingegaard's wheel, who closes this move down himself with 5Ks to go. So there's not long after this climb to bring back a move, or if you're a sprinter who gets dropped, to come back, make your way to the front of the peloton, recover, and then do a good sprint. And this is what's curious right here. You got Buitrago on the front, and Milan's there, and it's all looking rosy for Bahrain. Milan's probably the best sprinter in this group. And Mohoric, I don't know if this was the plan. He does Mohoric things. He does what he does. I don't know if he's got the drop a seat post. He goes in front and descent attacks. DSM react, Milan on that wheel. And Hajduk, I think, thinking about closing it down. He eventually sprinted, and Viviani, I think, he was in a group 2 at this point, and he didn't really contest the sprint at all. And Mohoric just went full throw to death, 2.1 stage. No worries about it. Milano Sanremo winner this year in the wet conditions. And just this gap was small, but it neither got smaller nor shorter until right close to the finish. And he could have easily, on a different day, won this stage with this move. But it is curious, like, will that work for Milan? I mean, this works too, because Milan gets to sit in. Bahrain don't have to control. He follows wheels, and they didn't have 5 riders there at this point. They might have later, but he didn't have a plethora of domestiques for a lead out. And this sort of reverse lead out also gives Mohoric a chance of winning, going over the island. And yeah, he's got this 10, not 10, 20 meter gap and just holds it. And eventually riders looking back, well, they don't want to ruin their own sprint. We're into the last like 600, 700 meters shortly. And he's using this. He used this cadence. Remember that stage he won the Tour last year, the second one ahead of like Pollitt and some rouleurs, like very smooth, steady, sort of lowish cadence. And behind him, Milan kind of makes a judgment call here. He doesn't want to stuff his own teammate, but eventually he's like, well, we're going to catch them anyway. And he stays on the front. He just opens up his sprint with probably 300 to go, just about, or maybe 250, and absolutely torches everybody. Going past Mohoric, you see the gap off the wheel. Milan did 100% the right thing. You couldn't risk not opening up your sprint, getting boxed in, even when you are the most superior sprinter in that group. And Mohoric is caught in the last 20 meters. So he did the right thing. Good to see him finally get that first professional victory. I don't think he has a contract on paper for next year. You see, he's G'd up about that win after coming close in Poland and Deutschland. Doesn't have a contract for next year, I don't think. I mean, I expect him to get extended, or Trek should come sniffing, because this guy, you put him on a better TT setup too, he should be winning prologues as well. Big engine, 194 centimeters, 82, 83 kilos, seems to climb okay too. Good rider, Jonathan Milan. See him at the Giro next year. Winning ahead of Modelo, the veteran, Maestri, Hajduk fourth instead of Viviani, then Gilvar, Galan, Mohoric seventh, Galvan, Mosca, and Chris Hamilton 10th. Here's what Milan had to say after the stage.
Wow, yeah, what a sensation is. I'm super happy, really. My first victory, I was looking for this victory for a long time, and after a really strange season for me, it starts not quite good now. I had to stop for like 4 months, and then I restart with Tour of Poland. I was really always really close to the victory. 3 podiums, or so, 2 podiums on Tour of Poland, 1 on Tour of Germany. And then I come here and I want to really, I was really looking for this victory, because also this Tour of Croatia for us is super important. And I think that today the guys did just a fantastic job. I think it's perfect. We ride always in the front in a perfect position, and then in the final laps, Damiano, Mattei, everyone works for me, and then I'm really happy. I'm super happy. I can't believe it, really.
I hope you enjoyed the video. I had a little bit of a break. I had to. The Tour and Vuelta grind is very taxing, but we're back for the rest of the season. Cro Race, a few others, maybe some throwback videos too. I'll see you stage 2 tomorrow. Ciao.